Hello, I'm Narkin from Staying Sane 101. This is We Win, my co-practitioner, and we're here to talk about caring about what other people think. I certainly have more than my share of patients who basically are paralysed with fear or suffer great anxiety over worrying about what other people think about them. Do you have any clients like this?
Yes, I think that's one of the very common things that people come to us to learn how to manage not caring too much about what other people think of them. So why do you think they care so much about what other people think?
Once again, I think, I've got this sort of love affair with evolutionary psychology.
Yeah.
Humans are essentially a social primate species, and we seek to establish a role for ourselves within a group. So whenever you're in a group, you need to have a position in that group that is secure. So in order to feel secure in the group, you need to constantly be worrying about whether other people think you're doing the right thing or the wrong thing, because that's going to determine your status in the group. That's kind of, I think, the evolutionary history of it. Now, obviously, we're not living in a chimpanzee troop today, but I think it's kind of, it's a manifestation of that. It's a runaway of these innate instincts, if you will.
Yep, I agree. I use this very similar analogy when I talk to my clients or explain why we have this innate want to be accepted in a tribe. Because back then, if we are left behind by a tribe, we won't survive. We won't survive those animal attacks. We want to be in a group so that we feel safe. We want to be likable. We want to be accepted. So we care a lot about what other people think of us, right? And when people come to us, they also look at us and start assessing whether I can connect with this person or not, whether I can, but basically whether this person understands me or not, whether I'm acceptable here, I think.
Yeah, so it's a very base human need.
Yeah.
The problem is that it can spiral out of control. Yeah. So instead of thinking, how can I cement my place in the group, just by being myself and contributing to the group the best I can, which is enough for most groups, kind of run away into thinking that, you have to be an overachiever, or everybody will think you're not pulling your weight, or it can manifest itself another way in that if I say anything, everybody will think I'm stupid. I'm so worried about what other people think. So they end up, rather than trying to do everything, they end up withdrawing from the group and not saying anything at all. So it's a kind of binary responses to it.
You mean like a all or nothing kind of response?
It's an all or nothing response. Yeah. Either they want to do everything in the group to show the group that they are good, or they fear the judgment of the group. So they don't say anything at all, or are very reluctant to say anything at all.
Yeah, that's a very good observation. Yes, it's a usual, what we call a defense mechanism, or protective mechanism that develop to make themselves feel safe. Either I withdraw or I stand out, so that people are looking at me, people are acknowledging me. I have a very similar client where she cared a lot about how other people view her physically. So she would comb her hair 1,000 times at least, like this, so there's no strained hair poking out of her hair.
Wow.
So one of the exercises I got her to do is to just stand in front of FairPrice or NTUC and just look up just to see if anyone is looking at her. Right? You were telling me earlier that we like to imagine that people are looking at us, but they actually are not. Right?
Right. Yeah. So there's this idea of wanting to fit into the group, which is a fairly natural instinct. But unhealthily, it can lead to us imagining that everyone is looking at us, everyone is judging us, everyone's focus of attention is us. Or in the case of your client, she's really obsessed. She really thinks everybody is looking at her and really thinks that it's all about her, when actually they're just going about their daily lives and not paying attention to her, either positively or negative. There's a manifestation of ego in that on some level.
Yeah.
In thinking that it's not in thinking you're the best, but in thinking that everything is all about you and it's all revolving around you. Do you think that's right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, How do you usually manage those clients? What do you get them to do, or what would you say to make them feel like it's okay? It's okay to want to be acknowledged or to be accepted, or to have a secure base in society, but you don't have to be, how do we find that middle ground?
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's always a challenge, because there does have to be a middle ground. We can't just not care what anybody thinks,
of course,
because that really is social suicide and career suicide, or possibly both if you're at a work function.
Yes.
What I try and do is just have a look at, is that belief and is that behaviour serving them well, or not serving them well?
Okay.
So, for example, if a person thinks that everyone is looking at them and everybody thinks they're stupid, and they're scared to speak up because they fear they'll be judged and they will look stupid, either in front of their peers or in front of their bosses. So then what they end up doing is withdrawing and not speaking. Now, the irony is the act of not speaking makes them a non-contributor, and that actually makes them appear not involved, having nothing to say, more stupid. So their actions, which are designed to protect them from looking stupid, are actually making them look more stupid, for want of a better word. Stupid's probably not quite the right word, but it's making them, the action they think will protect them from looking stupid is making them look worse. And I try to let them see that, so they can see that belief is not serving them very well.
Okay. So you are looking at the function of the behavior and informing them that what they've been doing is not helping them to get out of the very thing they want to.
Not just not getting them out of, but actually making it worse.
Yeah.
There's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy to it. I think I'm doing badly, and I will act in a way that ensures everybody else thinks I'm doing badly as well.
Oh, this very much links back to the core belief that we talked about. How, I think in the past videos we're talking about how we view ourselves, and to stem from how we view ourselves and how that makes us how we behave in ourselves. If I believe that I am stupid, then I think that my behavior will show that I'm stupid by thinking I'm stupid. Therefore, I'm zipping my mouth. I'm not saying anything because I won't say anything intelligent in a group of people that's smarter than me. Right?
Right. Yeah. So how do you go about dealing with these people? Other than dragging them out into public and showing them that nobody's looking at them. That's some harsh medicine right there. Yes. I like it a lot.
I guess that's one of the ways. The other way is I get them to, I ask them what would their friends think of them, and what would you think of, what you yourself think, what they say. Sometimes I even get them to ask their friends or family members what do they think of him or her, himself, right? So that they get a clearer idea of, this is what I think they think of me, and versus what they really think of me.
Right. Yeah. That's really good. So what you're doing there is they've got the belief, and you're actually challenging the belief with evidence.
Yes,
with actual third-party evidence. So you can play mind games all you like, but when a third party comes along and says straight to your face, "No, I don't see you like that," then it really is clear that these are beliefs, they're not facts, and they're beliefs that are not serving you.
Yes. Another way I also talk about, how we can never control what other people think of us. Right.
Yeah. Very good.
This is something that we can't. People always have things to say. They will have their mind. They can interpret what they want, how they want it, regardless of what we say or do. Sometimes we can try our best in communicating ourselves, but it's up to them to get the message out of it, right?
Yeah.
So I inform that. So usually with that, I work with hand in hand with communication. How do you express yourself, and what do you think of yourself?
Right.
Like that.
Yeah, and I think the idea of what you think of yourself is really, really important.
Yeah.
So if you're very clear in what your own core values are, and you act in a way that is congruent with that, so your actions really do match up to your core values, then you're quite secure in what you're saying or doing, regardless of what anybody else thinks, because you really are being true to yourself.
Yeah.
And that just takes a little bit of the power away from what other people think or from what you fear other people are thinking. On the other hand, if you're being a fraud, if you're going to work and playing a role, playing a facade, or being the person you think that others want you to be,
Yeah.
then you're acting in a way that's not congruent with who you really are.
Yeah.
And then you're not going to be secure with that because you know you're acting, and therefore what others think of you is going to be much, much scarier.
Yeah.
So it's really being authentic at the core that can free us from worrying what others think.
Yeah, that's the word, authentic. Being authentic to ourselves. Yeah. It's a very good topic. Let's talk more about it next. Let's find another topic next week to talk about.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.